The meteorological station in Busan sat perched on a coastal cliff, its white dome gleaming under the autumn sun. Inside, Dr. Taho Kim hunched over his computer, rubbing his tired eyes. The clock showed 3:27 a.m., but sleep was impossible now. The patterns on his screen shouldn't exist. This can't be right, he muttered, running the analysis program again. For 3 weeks, their instruments had been picking up strange signals from deep space. At first, Taho dismissed them as equipment errors, then as possible natural phenomena. But now, staring at the clearly structured patterns pulsing across his monitor, he could no longer deny it. The signals were too regular, too precise. Nature didn't create perfect mathematical sequences. Taho reached for his phone and called Dr. Ju Park. Despite the hour, she answered on the second ring. "Ju, you need to come see this now," he said, his voice catching. An hour later, Ju stood beside him, her face pale in the blue light of the monitor. "Have you told anyone else?" she asked quietly. Taho shook his head. "I wanted a second opinion first." Ju leaned closer to the screen. "These are not random. They repeat exactly every 47 seconds. That's deliberate." The next morning, observatories across the world began reporting similar findings. Within days, the signals grew stronger. Scientists from every nation shared data, argued theories, and reached the same conclusion. Something was coming. Global leaders gathered at an emergency United Nations session. Director Do-yeon of South Korea's National Security Council sat rigid in his seat as experts presented their findings. "The signals appear to be some form of communication," explained the lead physicist. "They're growing stronger because whatever is sending them is getting closer." Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Religious groups proclaimed the end times. Regular people stocked their homes with supplies, unsure what to expect. 68 days after Taho's discovery, the sky changed. Hana was walking to her office in Seoul when people around her began pointing upward. She stopped and followed their gaze. High above the city, the clear blue sky suddenly darkened as massive objects moved into position. Not clouds, not planes, something else entirely. Similar scenes played out across the globe. New York, London, Beijing, Cairo. Every major city suddenly found itself under the shadow of enormous vessels that had appeared without warning. The alien ships hung in silent formation. Their surfaces rippled like liquid metal, constantly shifting shape while maintaining their overall structure. They were nothing like the flying saucers of movies. They looked both organic and mechanical, defying human engineering concepts. "All attempts at communication have failed," reported General Min-soo to the hastily assembled crisis team in Seoul. "They're not responding to radio signals, light signals, or mathematical sequences." President Sunho stared at the live feed showing the largest vessel hovering above the Han River. What do they want? Why not communicate? No one had an answer. 3 days passed with the ships simply watching. Then everything changed. Yeonji was serving coffee at her parents' shop when the television broadcast switched to an emergency alert. Small craft were now departing from the main vessels, descending toward various points around the globe. "They're landing," the anchor said, voice shaking. "Repeat, alien craft are landing in multiple locations." Panic spread quickly. Some people fled cities while others barricaded themselves indoors. Roads clogged with traffic. Communication networks struggled under the load of millions trying to reach loved ones. The first landing site in Korea was confirmed near Jeju Island. Military forces surrounded the area, but kept their distance as ordered. A similar scene played out at landing sites across all continents: the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, the Australian outback, the Siberian plains, and the Rocky Mountains. Captain Minho led his special forces team to observe the Jeju landing site from a hidden position. Through binoculars, he watched as strange figures emerged from their craft. They stood taller than humans, with elongated limbs and bodies that seemed to shimmer as they moved. "They're collecting samples," he whispered into his radio. Soil, plants, water. They're not advancing toward populated areas. The pattern repeated worldwide. The aliens seemed more interested in Earth itself than its people. Dr. Hyjin and her team at Seoul National University worked around the clock, analyzing every piece of information coming in about the visitors' behavior. "There's a pattern," she insisted, pointing to a map marked with landing sites. "They're not random. They're all at locations with specific geological features." Meanwhile, attempts at communication continued. Linguists, mathematicians, and computer scientists collaborated on messages sent through every conceivable medium. But the aliens showed no interest in responding. Then came the first conflict. A military unit in a remote area of Russia, acting against orders, fired upon an alien scout ship. The response was immediate and devastating. The entire unit was disabled by an invisible force that shut down all their equipment and left the soldiers temporarily paralyzed. Yet the aliens didn't kill them. When the effect wore off hours later, the soldiers found themselves unharmed, but the aliens gone, having collected what they came for. Similar incidents occurred in other locations. Any direct aggression was met with neutralizing force rather than destruction. The aliens seemed to regard humans as annoyances rather than threats or equals. On the fifth day, Dr. Suho made a breakthrough in Incheon. Working with a damaged scout ship that had crashed due to what appeared to be mechanical failure, his team managed to capture a living alien. The being was placed in a specially constructed chamber where scientists attempted various forms of communication. For hours, nothing worked. Then Suho tried a simple pattern of light pulses based on prime numbers. The alien responded. Within hours, a rudimentary form of communication developed. The information that came through was fragmented but alarming. "They call themselves something like travelers or seekers," Suho reported to government officials. "They'd been searching for a new home. Their world is gone." "Do they want Earth?" asked Defense Minister Jisoo. "Yes," replied Suho, "but there's more. They're running from something that destroyed their home system and has been pursuing them across space. They've been fleeing for generations. Before more information could be extracted, something unexpected happened. All across the globe, the alien vessels suddenly began to withdraw. Scout ships returned to their motherships. The massive vessels started moving upward. They were leaving. Humanity watched in confusion as the invasion force departed as quickly as it had arrived. Within hours, the skies were empty again, except for a few damaged vessels left behind and a small number of stranded aliens. No one understood why they left so suddenly, but Dr. Suho had a theory based on his limited communication. "They found something here they didn't expect," he explained. "Something that made Earth unsuitable for them. Or perhaps they detected that whatever is chasing them is getting close." As the world tried to make sense of what had happened, one thing became clear. Earth had experienced its first alien contact, and the visitors had departed just as mysteriously as they had arrived. What they left behind would change humanity forever. Retrieve, the massive Terran Battleship Infinity, appeared suddenly at the edge of the Centauri diplomatic hub. Its dark hull seemed to swallow light instead of reflecting it. The ship moved with silent grace despite its enormous size. It was larger than any vessel the galaxy had seen before, a mountain of advanced technology that made the greatest alien warships look like toys. On the command deck, Captain Ju Park stood with perfect posture, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. She watched alien ships scramble in panic at the sight of the human vessel. Her dark uniform fit her athletic frame perfectly, the silver insignia of Earth Command gleaming under the soft blue lights. "They are forming defense patterns," said Lieutenant Commander Do-Yum Kim from the tactical station. His fingers moved quickly across glowing displays. "Their weapons are powering up, but nothing they have can hurt us." Captain Park nodded. "As expected, they remember the stories. 200 years of fear," said Navigation Officer Sunmi as she maintained their position. "They thought we were gone forever." The command crew worked with quiet efficiency. No one showed excitement or worry. They had trained for years for this moment. Humanity's return to the galactic stage. "Open a channel to the diplomatic hub," ordered Captain Park. "Standard greeting package, all languages." Communications Officer Chunho nodded. "Channel open. Transmitting now." On the diplomatic station, alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed in colors that warned of the highest possible threat. Security teams rushed to positions while civilian aliens hurried to shelter areas. Ambassador Tadian, representative of the Galactic Council, felt his 6 limbs tremble as he stared at the massive ship on the monitor. His compound eyes reflected the image multiple times, as if his brain needed to process the impossible sight from many angles. "It cannot be," he whispered. "The humans were destroyed. We saw their world burn." His assistant, Coordinator Pithar, checked the readings again. The ship matches no known design, but its energy signature is unmistakable. It is Terran. The Emergency Council chamber filled quickly with representatives from a dozen major species. Some arrived in person, while others appeared as holograms. All showed signs of fear, raised crests, flared membranes, or rapid color changes across their skin. High Counselor Vrix slammed a scaled hand on the table. "How did they survive?" "Our histories say the combined fleets wiped out their civilization." "Histories written by the victors," said Ambassador Taiyan quietly. "Perhaps we only saw what we wanted to see." The main screen in the chamber activated, showing Captain Park's face. The alien representatives fell silent, staring at the human with a mixture of fear and fascination. "I am Captain Ju Park of the Terran vessel Infinity. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council." Her words were smooth, but her eyes were hard. These were not the eyes of someone seeking friendship, but of someone delivering a message. Back on the Infinity, Security Chief Ji-hoon monitored the alien communications they were intercepting. His team listened to thousands of channels filled with panic and alarm. "They're discussing military options," he reported to Captain Park. "Some factions want to attack immediately, others want to run." "And what about Ambassador Taeyeon?" she asked. "He's urging caution. He wants to meet with us." Captain Park considered this. "Prepare a shuttle. Small delegation. Myself, you, and Lieutenant Minsu for technical expertise. Full security protocols." Within an hour, the Terran shuttle approached the diplomatic station. Its design was sleek and predatory compared to the rounded shapes of alien craft. As it docked, armed guards from 6 different species formed a nervous perimeter. Captain Park led her small team with confidence. The aliens stepped back as the humans passed, some touching protective charms or making religious gestures to ward off danger. The diplomatic chamber was designed to accommodate many different species with varying atmospheric needs. When the humans entered, several representatives activated personal force fields, as if afraid human presence might contaminate them. Ambassador Taehyun rose from his seat. Though frightened, he followed diplomatic protocol. "Captain Park, the Council acknowledges your arrival. Your presence is unexpected." "I'm sure it is," said Captain Park with a small smile. "You thought us extinct." High Counselor Vrix hissed. "Your world was reduced to ash. We saw it." "You saw what we wanted you to see," replied Security Chief Ji-hoon, his voice calm but eyes alert to any threat. A clever deception to buy us time. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Lieutenant Minsu remained silent, observing the alien technology around them with professional interest. Ambassador Taehyun raised his upper limbs for silence. "Please explain, Captain. The historical records are clear about what happened after first contact." Captain Park nodded. 200 years ago, your explorer ships discovered Earth. Initial contact was peaceful, but when your scientists realized how quickly humans adapt and learn, fear took over. Your council decided we were too dangerous to join the galactic community. She walked slowly around the table, making eye contact with each representative. Your combined fleets attacked without warning. Billions died. But some of us escaped, taking what technology we could salvage from your ships. Impossible, shouted a representative with blue crystalline skin. No species could advance so quickly from such devastation. Captain Park smiled, but there was no warmth in it. That's exactly why you feared us, isn't it? Our adaptability. When faced with extinction, humans become creative. She activated a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared, showing thousands of ships hidden throughout the galaxy, all bearing the Terran mark. We rebuilt, we learned, we prepared, but we did not come for revenge. The hologram changed to show massive, organic-looking vessels moving between galaxies. We came because something worse approaches, something that hunts civilizations, and you need us as much as we need you. After the initial meeting, the humans returned to their shuttle. As they walked through the station's main concourse, most aliens moved away quickly, creating a clear path. They're terrified of us, observed Lieutenant Minsu. Fear can be useful, replied Captain Park. Suddenly, Security Chief Ji-hoon's posture changed. His hand moved to his weapon, a split second before plasma bolts streaked through the air toward them. Time seemed to slow. Ji-hoon activated a device on his belt. The energy bolts froze in midair, caught in a localized temporal field. The assassins, reptilian mercenaries hiding among the crowd, found themselves unable to move, trapped in the same field. Station security forces arrived moments later, shocked to find the humans completely unharmed and the attackers frozen like statues. Captain Park glanced at the assassins with mild interest. Maintain the field until we're clear, she told Ji-hoon. Then to the station security chief. You can have them when the field dissipates in 20 minutes. As they continued walking, whispers followed them. The technology they had just demonstrated was centuries beyond anything the galactic species possessed. Once back on their shuttle, Minsu checked his readings. All according to plan, Captain. Their fear is already spreading across subspace channels. Captain Park looked out at the stars. Good. Fear will make them listen. And they need to listen very carefully to what comes next. As the shuttle returned to the Infinity, the massive battleship's presence cast a long shadow across the diplomatic hub. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. Retrieve the observation deck of the Infinity provided a stunning view of the stars. Tactical Officer Minsu stood with hands clasped behind his back, watching as representatives from 7 major galactic species examined the evidence he had presented. Their reactions varied, from shock to disbelief to quiet acceptance. Our long-range sensors detected them 50 years ago, Minsu explained, his voice calm and methodical. We call them the harvesters. They don't conquer civilizations, they consume them. He activated a holographic display showing massive biomechanical ships moving between star systems. The vessels resembled nothing built by known species, part machine, part living organism, with structures that seemed to pulse with internal energy. This footage was captured by an automated outpost near the Cygnus Arm, he continued. The planet you see had a pre-spaceflight civilization. Population approximately 9 billion. The aliens watched in horror as the massive harvester ships positioned themselves around the planet. Tendrils of energy extended downward, creating a web-like pattern across the world's surface. Within hours, all signs of civilization, cities, power grids, communication networks, went dark. They don't just kill, said Minsu. They absorb. Knowledge, technology, cultural patterns, everything that makes a civilization unique becomes part of their collective. Admiral Ikran, a veteran warrior from the Helix Confederation, studied the footage carefully. If these harvesters are so powerful, how have humans survived encounters with them? We haven't always, Minsu admitted. We've lost colonies, ships, millions of lives. But we learned from each encounter.